Hey everybody, welcome back once again to On the Couch with Travis and David. David and Travis, however you like to pronounce it. Today we're going to be talking about the Avatar episode, The Blue Spirit.
This episode
episode
13
of
of
season 1.
I really like this episode. I think it's a perfect one to come right after the previous one, The Storm. Because that was about Aang and Zuko, but they never... I mean, they had that moment where he kind of looks at him, but they never had like an interaction. So now we sort of built up to this moment where they actually do interact. And, I mean, why don't you talk about the twist?
Well, I feel really dumb in hindsight, because when they revealed that the Blue Spirit was Zuko, I'm like, wait, what? I did not see that coming. I,
In your defense, I told you it was a girl for some reason.
Yeah, they told me it was a girl's. So I thought it was What's-Her-Face from Kyoshi, because I know she comes back later, so I'm like, oh, maybe this is how, her and Sokka get back. Whatever, so... I did not expect to see Zuko, but it makes sense completely.
For me, when I was watching it, I knew because it was just like, Katara and Sokka are sick. They sort of make that evident, and I think they do that on purpose so you don't think it's one of them. Because, I mean, you could think it was Sokka because he does no bending, which is really smart that they show how adept of a warrior and fighter he is without the bending. Yeah. And it gives you more creative sort of combat situations. Mm-hmm. Because it proves even so that without bending, you can still be an incredibly competent warrior.
Yeah. There were a lot of awesome parts of the escape scene.
Very creative action scenes, which is great to watch because, you get enough of guys, punching and fighting each other. So to get, when they had the bamboo stilts and Aang was doing some very creative stuff with the airbending, it's very entertaining to watch.
And I don't... is this an American-produced animated series? Well, I know, there are a lot of famous, Japanese action movies, that are known for composing a scene very well. So, I don't know, I feel like they are very good at composing a fight scene and making it compelling.
Well, because it's we're going to have an escape scene, but we're going to make every element and beat of this scene be something you really haven't seen before.
But it also makes sense when you're watching it that would happen, and you're like, oh yeah, these ladders that can bend, they basically can be huge stilts.
And I love that moment where Aang's just sort of sitting there talking to Zuko, and he says, if things were different, I think we could be friends. And that makes Zuko really angry because I think he knows it's true.
Yeah. Because Zuko's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And angry.
He doesn't
he only knows how to respond with anger, so.
Yeah, I mean, he had a
rough
unpleasant upbringing. Yeah,
yes.
He's had a hard life.
I personally... there was that ending scene with the frogs.
Yeah, we could have had this really nice sort of, subtle, solemn ending where you have the Aang laying down, going to sleep shot, transitioning to the Zuko one, and they're both sort of thinking about the interaction. Aang is going, maybe we can't be friends. Zuko's thinking the opposite, maybe we can be friends. And that's, I think, a really nice sort of note to end on.
I didn't even think about that.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. That's what I see.
Okay. That makes sense to me, actually.
Because it's sort of Aang pushing forward the idea of they cannot work together because of how he reacted, but because Zuko didn't realize how merciful Aang would be with them, he's thinking the opposite. But then we get this sort of joke where it's Katara and Sokka and they're sucking on the frogs. And ew. And I get it.
Ew,
but that's very Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Because it didn't need to be there. It wasn't particularly funny. We sort of knew what was coming. Oh, it's gonna frogs. It's gross. So we didn't really need it. But again, you can't get too mad at him for being there.
No.
Because it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you're doing a Nickelodeon show. We got to end on something kind of gross and
funny.
And you can kind of tell because they draw Aang and Zuko much more kind of realistically. And they switch to these shots where Sokka and Katara have these enormous anime eyes and mouths, just to sort of sell home the goofiness of it. Yeah. And it's sort of it's actually very distracting, I think.
They're all bundled up. They remind me of Yetta from Twilight Princess, how they're bundled up, not you can see their faces. I didn't really care for any of those scenes. I thought they're all kind of meh. But
it gets it going, and it's sort of what's nice is it gets Aang away from Sokka and Katara. And the more they develop Zuko, the better, because it's that dynamic and it's his character that really sells this show.
It's the parallelism between the two that is I think the heart of the show.
Exactly.
Sorry, Katara. Not sorry. They don't belong together. I know they get together, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Great action, great pacing, great scene.
I thought the beginning was a little long.
Because we sort of had that goofy moment with the old woman.
Yeah, I think that was a little too long. But
I'm
that's
fine
just,
with it, but it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. I think it could have been.
And these archers are kind of built up in the beginning, the first act, and they don't really do that much.
Yeah, I would have liked less of the old woman and more of that extended scene of him.
Because the archers just kind of shoot and hit Zuko in the face, and then he flourishes it up. So, I mean, there didn't need to be special archers that we acknowledge. Like, we have the scene where he's like, I'm going to take your archers. Oh, these guys are precise, they're the best in the world. And they kind of kept him in the swamp, but there's no reason why we had to spend time establishing that these are special archers, when it doesn't really...
I think it was more so to, like, show that the Fire Lord is really prioritizing finding the Avatar.
And not
like,
Zuko,
and because you see him go from Captain to Admiral. I think it was more like that. And then they were, like, wanted to show him have power, so he does that by, like, forcing the other captain.
And Zhao isn't a complex villain, but he's not the main antagonist, so we don't need him to
I don't need him.
He's sort of a foil to the antagonist that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And he works really fine. His voice actor is great. So you get everything you need to there.
Yeah, I thought from beginning to end it was good. There were a couple hiccups, but I'm not gonna. It's not bad. I still like it.
So next we have the Fortune Teller. I don't really remember this one, but just by reading the description right now, it looks like it's sort of a throwaway or filler episode. So we'll see what we think of that.
Yeah.
But this last one, absolutely integral, absolutely important. I give it a thumbs up for sure.
I do too. See you later.